So this might be a slightly different session for once. The people I'm playing this with decided they didn't want the stream. Fair enough. Absolutely respect that. But I just wanted to gather some thoughts on this one. So we've run our session 0, which was character creation. And then we had the first session, which was still half character creation because some players couldn't quite make it to the first session. And then we had the first couple of scenes of this scenario, which is from the Chaosium book, Berlin, the Wicked City. You can see it on the background there already, but it looks like this. Very nice book, very nicely put together. Excuse me while I try to battle this back in between all my other books. And yeah, we had the first exploration of the city. So I'm using Foundry for this. I'm just going to briefly talk through how I set this up and what the Trail of Cthulhu, the investigator system as it's actually called, what that comes with, how that works. And then I'm just going to talk through my thoughts of where I think this is going to head, because really for my players, they do like watching this after the scenario is done and saying, oh, is that what we were supposed to do? And things like that. So I appreciate this will not have a lot of viewers. So let's have a look. The system is, as I said, the investigator system, but of course I'm using a lot of the resources that Chaosium have created. So for example, I've got the city map of Berlin here, which they've created with all their different legends and all the different colored plots on it. I find it much easier. I use pop-up, what is it called? Pincushion and backgroundless pins to create these pop-ups here. So that the players can actually get a bit of a feel of what it's like as well. Yeah, so get a feel of the place. These are all pictures sourced from various places on the internet or from Chaosium. So this is the player map of a close-up of this region, for example, so that they can hover over that and see it. Romanisches Café is one of the places they go. Yeah, I didn't want to use anything from Babylon Berlin because it's featured in there as well. So I just used an old black and white sketch, actually, I think that is. So you can see what that works like. Another hub of investigation will be Alexanderplatz here, where the police are in der Burg, die Rote Burg. Andreasplatz, they're going to go to probably tonight's session. I'm going to talk about that a little moment. Something I really like in this game is that you have group sheets. So in Trail of Cthulhu, one of the things you need to know is the investigative spins and what people have. So I've got my characters over the top here, and then I can see how many points they've invested in the investigative abilities. So I can always see where they currently are at and who might have a particular skill. Because in this system, if you have the right skill and you're looking in the right spot, you will find all the crucial clues. Then you can then spend points to up that a bit and find more insight, or if you try to find something that is a bit more difficult, you can do that here. I gave myself, because it's a new system which I haven't really run before, some rules references as well on the GM screen. So it's just a click away if you want to find out, okay, how did that work again? The stability, sanity thing, I should set it up. So I basically, as the module says, it's my GM screen. And I've got the rules here and I can share that with the players if I need to. The player, the character sheet looks a bit like this. You might recognize that photo as well if you know Babylon Berlin. So you get all the skills that are non-zero, or if you want to see all the skills, you unclick this and you can see the point distribution. The ones with the stars are the ones that come with a occupation, so they are cheaper to buy at the beginning. You've got the stability trackers on the side, health trackers on the side, sanity tracker on the side, whatever you need. And you hit threshold. This is like the good old armor class. If somebody tries to hit you, this is the difficulty you have to achieve for that. So my characters are all here. That actually worked really well. This creation, originally you have to count up how many points you have spent, but marking them up as occupational skills means you spend 1 point, you get 2. Makes it a lot easier. So I like that. That worked well. What else is there? The abilities, the system comes pre-configured with some system reference document abilities for all of the gumshoe systems that are currently in this. But I found that I actually had to add a few into the character sheet. So they were not directly ready. You had to basically go through and say, okay, I need this one, drag and drop it across to the character sheet, and then copy the character sheet for the others. Right, so what else have I done? I've imported all the nodes that I need to run the game. Might be a bit small depending on the resolution here, but you can see I've got my handouts here for the game. So the first one is this one that it starts off with, and you get a nice newspaper article that I can show to the players, of course. Then you get a telegram that they get sent early on. I probably should mention this is full of spoilers. So if you're going to play this, you may not really want to carry on watching this. So far I haven't spoiled anything beyond the first 10-15 minutes. So there's more coming, of course. And yeah, I created a handouts folder so I can share these with the players. If you can see these little colored icons, they tell me this is permission viewer. So it tells me whether they have been shared or not, and the ones that have the share icon on it are not yet shared, so they are secret. My players can't see them yet. I also created this group case notes, so all the group can edit these. The princess task I still have to share, so I'm sure you all know how to do this anyway. And I created a little landing page for them. I think it's this. No, it's not this one. Not that one either. Home, that's what I called it. So I created this little table here. So whatever the latest news is, I pile on here when they're back at their office. They're running a secret backroom printing shop. And I've got the group notepad here as well. Yeah, so this is quite neat. I quite like it. So far, what has happened? The players were celebrating. Yeah, the group were celebrating in the Romanisches Café. They witnessed that was the chat basically to say, okay, what's important to you? Let's celebrate. What are you talking about? Introducing the characters. The Romanisches Café basically is the entrance scene into this scenario, and you then get some of these right-wing goons, right-wing extremists of Freikorps. This is really pre-SA. Causing trouble, trying to stir up trouble. And they witnessed that. And again, it was a way of driving out the drives, of getting their political views and seeing whether they would stand up to them or not. That ended in some fisticuffs. Not too bad, though, because somebody intervened. Actually, somebody ran off and fetched the police, who, of course, didn't deal with the right-wing goons at all. That gave them a few leads, a few people they met, and a few ideas about, for example, the swastika that somebody was drawing on a table. They were spotted while they were there by somebody who needed some people of good moral fiber, apparently. And they contacted them, this Prince Konstantinovich contacted them to find a missing person, essentially. And that's pretty much as far as we got. They have their first leads now, and I think the leads they're going to go for today, they're going to be the... So if you look at this one, it will tell you a little bit. Again, full of spoilers. Apologies for that. Don't watch it if you want to play it. Yeah, they can go to the Kiez, to the Andreasplatz, the garden. From there, they might want to go to the place that the mass murderer, who recently killed himself, used to live, Grossmann. They might want to go to the police. Now, the thing is that last time, after their encounter at this hotel with this Prince Konstantinovich, they pretty much said that they were going to bed. And really, for the timeline of this adventure to work, you don't want them to go to bed at this juncture. You want them to go out into the red light district. It's nighttime, so that's when they will meet the people they need to talk about in the Andreasplatz. So I need to rewind a little bit with my group today, which is always a bit unfortunate, but I'm sure they'll forgive me, because otherwise the timeline really doesn't work, because some of the witnesses they may want to talk to might end up dead, and that would be very unfortunate, because it can close up a whole part of the investigation. I've got my little notes here. You will not really be able to see, but I plotted out the plots, the clues, and where they're going to lead. And I think it works best if they go there in the evening, so I'm going to engineer that. From there, I reckon today we will probably see them go to the flat of the mass murderer, Lange Straße. They might do that during the following day. They probably go and visit a cabaret, which is a really cool scene, because we've got a cabaret dancer in it as well, and I love that scene. Going into this, well, backroom cabaret, really downtrodden, and then having a very high-profile encounter in there. They might then start investigating a bit further. They might learn, ask from the neighbors. They might find out that there's a garden shed. They might have to investigate with this mass murder, or they might go to the police. They might end up going to a, as I call it in this game, loony bin, to find whether the missing person has ended up there. And I think that's probably as far as they're going to go. If they get to where this missing person is, because they will eventually, there might even be a nice fight scene at the end. And that means I have to read up on the fight rules. And one of the things, if you take a Call of Cthulhu adventure with a beastie that has particular powers and you want to put that into Trail of Cthulhu, you face a choice really. You either make it a very narrative, which means you don't have to worry about the mechanics of the encounter, or you really try to run it with the games, but then you have to invest the time to convert it. Now, Trail of Cthulhu has got some information about how to convert from Call of Cthulhu into Trail, but I think I'm just going to go with the narrative. I think the group is going to prefer that. I also still need to introduce some dream visions. So depending on how the evening plays out before they go into the next night, they'll have some unsettling dreams, and that means I have to read up on the stability rules, because in Trail of Cthulhu you've got a split between stability, which is sort of your everyday belief in the world around you, and your sanity. And the stability comes back quite easily, the sanity doesn't. Yeah, okay, so that's my thinking right now. Might not be of huge consequence to many of you, but for my group this hopefully will be interesting after we finish the scenario, so they can rewind. That'll do for now. Any comments, let me know. I'd be interested to hear that. I think that Foundry, especially with this investigator system, does lend itself quite nicely, because we've got all the different things you want to have. So just to show you that briefly, you can do point spins on this to increase your rolls. You can have lots of configuration here on these different skills. You can create your own if you like. I quite like it. Anyway, if this is of interest, I might be back next week.